your #1 news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Welcome back. Patients of the Kidney Center receiving a heartfelt gift thanks to the family of the late Cheryl Marshall Campbell. Husband of the late Cheryl Campbell, Clement Campbell, says they wanted to present a gift that would warm the hearts of several patients as well as make their time in the dialysis center a bit more comfortable. He says the donation was made on behalf of the entire family.
Eldest patient, the youngest patient, and their most recent patient. So there's a blanket to keep them warm because I know for a fact, for the amount of period of time that my wife has spent here, how cold it's been in there. So this time of year we thought about that. And we like to continue giving to the Cheryl Marshall Foundation, to the Kidney Center. The patients and my wife had such a good relationship. This was like home away from home because she spent three times a week she'd come here for 4 hours. So for almost 9 years, 3 times a week for 4 hours, you get to know everybody. The doctors, the nurses, and everybody, the janitors, and the caretakers, and everybody. So we just want to, my daughter, Cheryl, this whole idea of coming up with this and doing this for the dialysis center.
Clinical manager at the Kidney Center, Kylie Turnquist, says that they are truly grateful for the donation and recalls the time spent with Cheryl Campbell.
It means a lot to them. As I was telling Mr. Campbell, a lot of our patients complain about being cold here in the center. So for those patients and those who would be here during their treatment, this would keep them some comfort while they're here having their treatment 3 days a week. All right. Ms. Campbell was a well-loved member of our family, and so it's always something to remember her by.
Couples across Grand Bahama are in for a treat as a local organization is coming together with several partners to give engaged couples a wedding of their lifetime. Photographer and organizer of the Bridal Walk, Daniel Romer, says organizers decided to put the event on for couples who may be experiencing financial challenges due to Hurricane Dorian and now the COVID-19 pandemic.
Together to help engaged couples that might have tried to have their wedding during COVID, but it got canceled or just couldn't put it together because of, travel restrictions or such. And we want to try and help people have a beautiful wedding.
Organizer Kaylee Kemp says the winner will be selected mid-January and the wedding date is set for February 14th, 2021.
So basically what couples can do is, if they would like to participate, they can check out our Instagram or our Facebook page. They can share the flyer. They can send us a personal message that they would like to be a part of it. They can share their personal wedding story with us on how they would have met, and this will be judged by our slate of vendors. And they can also get the public and their family and friends to like their photo, as well as the affiliates or persons who will be working on this program. And the person who has the most beautiful wedding story and the person who has the most likes will walk away being the winner by having that beautiful wedding ceremony. They don't have to worry about spending anything on their attire, their makeup, their hair, the photography, the videography. Everything will be covered by our slate of vendors who will be making this possible for them.
This past school term, giving students and teachers a number of new lessons they never expected, thanks to the global COVID-19 pandemic. And now schools throughout the country are officially closed for the Christmas break, giving the student body much needed time off. The district superintendent for the island of Abaco giving an assessment of the changes. The school system on the island of Abaco finally regaining some sense of normalcy after enduring major changes due to destruction left behind by Hurricane Dorian and then again due to the COVID-19 pandemic. District Superintendent of Education Dominique Russell gives an overview of this past semester with the new hybrid changes.
It was a mixed approach because some parents hate the virtual system, and then we had some parents who love it because it gave students an access to some courses that they probably would not have been able to take. It allowed for teachers to collaborate a little bit more. We have a number of schools actually who are working together as a team, and we saw a greater amount of collaboration amongst our team members. So in that vein, it was really good, and we're still excited about it simply because it provides an avenue for students to participate in courses that they would not readily have have available because of budgetary constraints or lack of teachers, etc. But for some parents, they saw it as a nuisance because it meant that they were working a little bit harder. And of course, the frustration from the lack of connectivity in some regards, the internet really was not friendly to us this term. But for the most part, we did well. We had 76% attendance, although we wanted 100%. But those students who did not get access, we were able to provide the learning kits so that they were able to get some form of education this term.
She shares what she's looking forward to in 2021.
We are so excited. If you see Patrick J. Bethel, for example, it looks like a brand new school. I'm excited to see those footsteps on those campuses. All of our children coming back, our teachers coming back, our support staff, our administrators, everybody is excited. We didn't expect to come back so quickly because we would have done the research, and in other jurisdictions you saw where persons are still trying to get their lives back together after a devastation. But to see these schools already completed or almost completed, like Central Abigail Primary, like Patrick J. Bethel, we're excited to welcome our students and to welcome our team members back onto the campuses.
And just recently, the Minister of Education, the Honorable Jeff Lloyd, along with the Member of Parliament for North Abaco, the Honorable Darren Henfield, toured schools on the island.
We went from Foxtown Primary, we came all the way central, and we were able also to go to Amy Roberts Primary in Green Turtle Key and look at some of the work that's being done. Those were where most of the repairs were needed. We unfortunately were not able to get to Hope Town because of the shortness of the time, but we were able to visit those schools and so they could see the progress of the work. And then, of course, our Prime Minister was here on Friday, and so he was able to visit Patrick J. Bethel in particular because that was devastated. If we do a before and after, you would be amazed at how good the campus looks.
Minister Henfield says they are working to fulfill the wishes of students and parents for the upcoming school year.
We find that the teachers are yearning to return to classroom with their students, as well as the students are yearning to get in the classroom with their peers and with their teachers. We hope that by January, I'm optimistic that the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Education would come to a place where our kids could get back into the classrooms, where they can social distance if need be, and begin to have face-to-face classes again. The Minister indicates that Abaco and New Providence and places like that will operate what we call a hybrid system, where some kids are able to operate on the digital divide where they are on their home platforms, and some would be able to come to the classroom.
This holiday season, one resident of Arden Forest is finding out that he may just have a green thumb. Farming was the last thing on his mind, but ever since the global pandemic, he was forced to give it a try. And now he says it is bringing him a great sense of pride. Jay Philippe reports.
Meet Samuel Miller, a homeowner in the Arden Forest area who is now having great luck growing fruits and vegetables in his backyard. Miller says he has very little experience in backyard farming, but since the pandemic, he and his family have focused on growing their own foods for daily consumption. In fact, Miller says his biggest crop so far has been this gigantic pumpkin that continues to grow in his backyard, which he says has been a pleasant surprise.
A lot of people feel like they have to go to school or be this, or have a green thumb, and I must admit, I don't have a green thumb. I'm not an experienced farmer or anything like that. I wouldn't even call myself a farmer. It's just that, certain time, especially in this yard, anything that you put in the ground and you take care of it, it grows and it brings back its increase. And I thank God that the yard is blessed in such a way. Even the neighbor said, it seems like everything that you put in the ground, it's blessed and it flourishes. And one of the things that flourishes was the pumpkin.
This budding farmer says this pumpkin is just one of many grown in his backyard so far. He tells us that this pumpkin started growing from the neighbor's yard and eventually extended towards his backyard, then later grew along the fence of his backyard, and ever since they have been spreading.
I think we have about 3 or 4 pumpkins on the fence itself. The last one being this big pumpkin is still here. We already ate the other 3, and it was the best pumpkin I've ever tasted and stuff like that. But I was so amazed at how big the pumpkin gets, but I was also amazed at how much pumpkin we got on the vine. This is the first year that we had the pumpkin, and it started in October, so I guess the pumpkin season is around the Thanksgiving time. So it started to grow. So in about, I should say, the whole month of October and November, the pumpkin got bigger and bigger. The vine got longer and longer.
Miller adding that there are some distinct advantages to growing produce in your backyard versus a full-blown farm. He says so far he has produced a number of healthy and delicious vegetable crops.
Minister Pintar is always on the radio or on the news talking about backyard farming, trying to encourage people. And like I said, I am not a professional. It's just that we need to be able to be in a position to feed ourselves and not depend so much on the grocery stores. And that's why I am more encouraged to even get with my garden right here now, because I've already got kale out of there, I got spinach out of there, I got cantaloupe, I got sweet pepper, tomatoes. These are the things that you can grow in your own yard to feed your family and feed other people.
According to Miller, based on his experience, backyard vegetable garden is an endeavor that's manageable by nearly anyone.
I want to encourage people, continue to do your backyard farming. You don't have to be a professional. Just put it in the ground, give it some TLC, some tender loving care, and watch it bring forth fruit in its season to feed yourself and your family and to feed everybody else around you.
I'm Jay Philippe, ZNS Network News.
Stay with us, our Facebook friend of the day still to come.